G'day. Before I get stuck into today's episode of The Mentor, did you know that 22% of Aussies are already victims of a data breach or an online security threat? Guess who faces the biggest risk? Yep, small businesses. How do you minimize your risk and make your business site safe? GoDaddy will protect your site and keep your customers safe. Over 20 million customers around the world, they know what they're doing. GoDaddy.com.au's website security provides a complete, all-encompassing and easy-to-use tool to keep your site protected from malware, hackers, and other online security threats. After all, your website's the center of your business, the online face of your brand, and all the cool things you're bringing to the world. It deserves complete protection with all the tools you need to protect your businesses and customers online. So look after your business online and protect it with GoDaddy. Welcome to The Mentor. I'm Mark Boris. When Jason Daniel walked into the studio, he was fully kitted from head to toe with LSKD gear. Jason's the founder of sportswear gear company LSKD. Now, that's functional sportswear with a street aesthetic. He's a boy from Logan, that's right, in southeast Queensland, same place where Cameron Smith comes from, and a mad guy for motorsports, which also happens to be where the name LSKD originated from. And by the way, he launched that brand, LSKD, in 2007. During his early 20s, he worked as an apprentice carpenter while managing LSKD during his lunch breaks. The guy's a fanatic. Jason's got so much energy. His business has gone through 3 different rebrands, from Loose Kid Industries to LKI, now is LSKD. And I reckon it's reflective of his journey and his approach as a founder to his business. Like many founders, during the early stages of business, Jason's default is to approach things with a scattergun approach, doing everything and anything. It wasn't until a couple of years ago he started to structure his thinking. And that's part of the normal evolution of startups into becoming real businesses. In my chat to Jason, you're going to hear about things like how important is hard work, where's the ethic of hard work come from, and learn how to hustle, how to leverage the hustle. So getting something out of your hard work, how he leveraged his way through the LSKD business, which eventually led him to Hollywood celebrity Zac Efron wearing his product. That's a big deal. So let's get into it. Jason, welcome to The Mentor.
Thank you.
All the way from Queensland.
Yeah, flew in this morning.
Yeah? What do you think of the nice cold weather down here?
Yeah, it's good. I can wear my puffer jacket. It's the first time I've been on a plane for about a year, actually.
Serious?
So, yeah, it's been a while.
So in terms of traveling, I mean, your business is Australia-wide, nationwide.
Yep.
Yep. Do you have to go travel to see your distributors or whatever you call it?
Previously, we would travel overseas a lot to see our suppliers and partners over in obviously in China and places like that. But I've been lucky enough. I actually haven't had to travel too much, to be honest.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to crank back up a lot more now, and I've got a 5-month-old at home, so it definitely helps being able to not have to travel too much and help around at home after hours as well.
Mind you, sometimes you probably think yourself, wish I could get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, quick night's sleep.
So you're a Queenslander?
Yep.
Born and bred?
Yep.
Okay.
Out of Logan.
Logan boy. Wow, that's Cameron Smith territory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And probably a few others. So how old are you now?
I just turned 34.
To 34-year-old.
Yep.
Logan boy. So you're a Brisbane Broncos supporter?
Yeah. And Lions, both.
Oh, you
support it all.
Yeah. And you I was going to say right now is the Maroons, or it's the Queensland State of Origin team sort of getting ready to kick off. And we're all playing with New South Wales, who I love. We're playing you guys up in North Queensland. It's going to be big up there. It's huge. I mean, I'll really get excited this time.
Are you going?
No, I'm not going to go, but if it was in Brisbane, I probably would. But given it's in North Queensland, I won't. Like it's a bit of a hassle getting up there.
Yeah.
Particularly if you lose, it's a shit trip home. But I'll be watching. Don't worry about that. And once again, New South Wales man to man on paper look better than Queensland, but fuck,
it'll be a good game.
We do this all the time, and then Queensland come and kick our ass. I mean, like, Freddie, get onto it, mate. Okay, let's just go back a little bit to I want to know like a little bit about you. So, were you born in Logan?
Yeah, so I was born and grew up in Logan.
Explain what Logan's like
great.
socially, economically, demographically.
Yeah,
What
look,
are
I
we
mean,
talking
I think every area has its downsides, right? As every area does. I was very lucky. I grew up on 5 acres, had tracks. My parents owned a plant nursery, so we used to sell at the markets every Sunday with my mum. And I grew up. We had tracks. I grew up racing motocross.
Tracks being like
motocross tracks and supercross tracks, and I grew up wanting to become a professional motocross athlete. So I was always training. We had a big dam, so I'd be swimming in the dam, training in there, like doing probably mini triathlons back then. Didn't even realize, but yeah, it was good. I mean, I rode to school. It was a great area. Obviously it's subdivided now where I grew up. Now it's into blocks, but yeah, being able to grow up on property was amazing.
Yeah, so Logan back then, 30 odd years ago, was not country, but sort of like semi-country, semi-rural. People had larger blocks of land, put it that way.
Yeah.
They're not sort of running a farm or anything like that, but they had larger properties.
Yep.
Today, Logan's a bit different. Logan's like Subdivisionville. It's like
it's booming.
Millions of houses everywhere.
A lot of people are moving to Queensland, and a lot of people are moving into Logan at the moment. Are you
noticing that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously off topic, but the housing market's booming. I just got into a new place and it was hard to get into. So
really,
yeah, it's booming.
You bought a joint or you rented a joint?
Bought a new place.
Oh,
yeah.
So business must be good.
I'm very thankful. It's going well.
So you grew up in Logan, went to school in a local district. Outdoors type kid, I guess, from what you're saying in terms of riding motorbikes and all that sort of stuff and hanging out. But school wise, what's the deal?
School, I mean, I wasn't the brightest kid, to be honest. I had a lot of drive in me in terms of what I did outside of sports, which I think, taught me a lot about what I do today. And but yeah, school, I wasn't the brightest kid, to be honest.
What's that mean? You didn't apply yourself, or you
I probably didn't.
just
To be honest, I probably
it?
didn't apply myself enough. I think in that sense, I didn't. I wasn't interested. I was interested in sports, racing motocross and wanting to be a professional athlete. I was interested in everything else. I probably wasn't interested in school. I loved school. I had a lot of fun, but I actually probably learned more outside of school than what I did, inside of school. And I think, when I finished school, I thought I was going to be an electrician. So I did 3 months as an electrician, hated it. Quit that and then worked for a family friend for 12 months in a big bricklaying yard and thought, I was running trucks, almost logistics, learning how to run logistics with, running bricks to job sites and had 2 trucks, running that out. And then I was racing motocross and I decided that I had a day off a week to go riding. And I thought, fuck, I'm not going to do this anymore. I actually am not going to be a professional athlete. That one day I'm going to work as a chippy. So I made a bunch of phone calls back then. It was really hard to get an apprenticeship back then. So I worked for this guy for 3 months, a day a week for free, doing 10, 12-hour days. And I remember sweeping the floor in this house we were cleaning out to finish it. And he goes, mate, I'm giving you a job. And I was pumped, I'm like, I'm going to $7 an hour, but I didn't care. I was just like, I think I was 19 and I just wanted to trade. And obviously I had the brand back then that had kicked off, but it wasn't.
What do you mean you had the brand?
So obviously my journey with brand with LSKD now actually started it pretty much in high school. So it was a word called Loose Kid. And it was just essentially a high school nickname. It was just a bunch of fun. It was like.
So they gave you the nickname?
Yeah. I wasn't that loose, but
what does loose kid mean? I mean, is that a term of art today? I mean, like,
honestly, if I'm gonna, it was
loose
just
mean like you're paying the ass, or does loose mean you get up to mischief? I
used to. So going back, I used to ride BMX, and I actually was coming up short on a jump. So I was like, they call it casing a jump. And I was riding with the guys who were 17, 18. One of them ended up winning X Games for 3 years in a row, lived in America. I was 13, I think I was 12 or 13. And they said, oh, you're riding loose today, kid. Because I was the 12, 13.
So riding loose means what? Like, cool, good.
Oh, probably, I don't know. Probably not the best.
No, I'm not bad. It's not good.
It was okay. I wasn't,
But does loose, if you're riding loose today, does that mean, is that like a term of art for guys in motocross? Like that means you're fucking really cool?
I think it could be two different terms. One could be like, well, he's fast, he's riding loose today, or one, he's in. But we don't actually use the term for that anymore. It actually just was created as, when you're growing up and you have that word of the month.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that's loose, hey kid.
Yeah.
And it really had no meaning. But then a friend of mine on MSN days, if anyone remembers those days, said you should turn this into a brand.
How old were you?
Oh, I would have been 15. I was just a kid. I didn't even know how to. It wasn't like, oh, there's a market here, I'm going to sell a t-shirt. And I was like, how do you actually create a career out of selling t-shirts? They're $50 t-shirts. I didn't didn't know what that meant. And my mum was a legend, and she actually got the trademark paperwork for me back then. And I signed it off as Loose Kid Industries. And we just made some T-shirts and hats, and we used to sell at the bike tracks and then it took until 2007 when I was second year apprentice, I think, or third year apprentice carpenter, and said, you know what, it's time to give this thing a crack. Like, I want it. And we changed it to LKI. So we abbreviated the word.
LKR.
LKI.
Loose
Kid
Industries.
Industries abbreviated.
Okay,
right?
so let's just go back here.
Yeah.
So
it's a long story.
No, but
it's crazy.
you're a young bloke in your late teens. You're working as an apprentice carpenter.
Yep.
And together with your mum who owned market stalls or something like that.
We had a plant nursery, so we would sell plants to the wholesalers.
Okay.
And
yeah. So your mum sort of understands how to hustle. And what about your dad, by the way?
My parents split when I was 13 or 14. So I actually haven't spoken to my dad since maybe 19. But yeah, they split when I was quite young.
Right. So he didn't have that much of an influence on you.
He actually did probably when I was a lot younger. It was all about if you want something, you got to work for it. And yeah, it was all about if you want something, you got to work for it. And I think that instilled a work ethic. And I worked in the nursery, as a kid growing up. I used to knock on doors and get cuttings off trees and say, hey, we need to trim your trees. We'd take it home, we'd repot it, and then we'd go and sell it at the market. So I didn't realize till probably now, as I'm getting a little bit older, that actually taught me how to sell.
It's also hustling, hustles, like going,
Yeah,
you're going to trim your tree. But then you leverage it and you sort of put it in a pot as well. So you get the cuttings for free. So you take the cuttings away, you get the cuttings for free, and then that allows you, all you have to do is buy a bit of soil, a bit of potting mix and put it in a pot. And then you got something to sell.
And you got to store it. And we had big shade houses, and you'd store it and you have to water it certain times.
But that taught you something. That taught you, and I only just realised it the other day, but I mean, that taught you something when you're a young man about, and you probably took it as second nature, but it taught you how to A, work hard, get that bit. Yeah. B, hustle, hustle for the job. That's a big deal. I mean, a lot of people know to work hard, prepare to work hard, but they don't know how to hustle for the job. Learn how to hustle for the job is really important. And then for later on in business, and then also how to leverage what you've done. Like, hang on, there's an opportunity. I'll put that in a pot and I'll sell it for $5. So I get that for nothing. I won't sell it, but I'll store it and look after it.
Higher too.
100%.
If you can get economy of scale.
No cost. And you just keep doing that shit. And start off small and, little fish are sweet. And it's like I was only thinking the other day, I was thinking about when my old man, my dad, when I was 14, my dad got me to work in a factory where he was working and during the school holidays. And the game was whatever I earned, I had to, not had to, but like I agreed to give 1/3 to my mum. And my mum was going to buy a sideboard out of it, like something for the house, which is cool. Yeah. I was happy with that. But to do that, I had to work a whole week in a factory. And in this factory, they had this card on each of the machines. And on the machine, on the card, it said you had to do 50 of these metal things an hour. I had to produce pull 50 of these things out.
Had a strong KPI to hit.
Yeah, so I had to do it 50. And if you did 60, you got paid a bonus.
Yeah.
If you did 70, you got paid a bigger bonus. Anyway, I worked it out pretty quick that I could make bonuses. And I worked out how to do it efficiently because I went, well, if I use that hand to do this and I pulled down the front of the cage with that, and then at the same time put my foot on there was a pedal thing you had to push down.
Save seconds.
And correct. And then I was sort of working out, I didn't go about it consciously, but I was working at this unconsciously. And I thought about it the other day. I thought to myself, I'm actually quite good at doing 2 or 3 things at once and actually working out how to be very efficient.
Yeah.
And I reckon it all goes back to when my dad got me to do that job.
Without even thinking about it.
I didn't even fucking think about it. And it's interesting you just telling me now about your own situation. Those sorts of things are valuable.
Yeah, they are. And especially having young kids now, it's like, how do you kind of try and instill that, because you don't want to force it. It just kind of happens with natural nutrition. And I definitely appreciate that growing up, that I went, oh, wow, where'd I get that work ethic?
Your parents probably didn't realize it either. I mean,
no, they had to survive. We weren't wealthy. My parents were amazing. My mum did so much to put us through school, but we weren't a wealthy family. So, we had to work hard to put food on the table. And I obviously wanted to buy a dirt bike.
I guess they're not cheap.
No. So, and then, then I ended up working in the local BP, and I think I was 14 at the time, and I had a job there, and I washing pumps on a Tuesday and a Saturday. You see people come with their bikes, and I saved $3,500, and then lucky enough, my grandparents went halves with me to pay for the rest so I could buy a new bike. And then I started getting into racing then. So we couldn't afford to do it. But I just found a way. Like I just was like, well, no, I'm going to race a bike because I see all these people racing and I want to be a racer and I love sports. And I just found a way, and my grandparents chipped in the can and helped, which was amazing. They were absolute legends, and didn't really think of it till now, but it was like they said, if you achieve that, I'd do that. And then I got that to be able to go racing. And then I just found sponsors, and, I couldn't, I was on $240 a week. So I would, I use it even into this term today within the brand and what we've created, this amazing community that we're growing globally is, I say it a lot to the team, actually. It's like when I had, when I was racing, I didn't have enough money to pay. Like a set of gears for $400, set of tires on a weekend's $200. To go out racing, you fuel in the car, hotel. So I would be messaging the brands or the distributors going, hey, I can do a cover shoot in the magazine. Do you need me to wear the newest gear? Like, because I started to get to know the magazines back then and got friends with them. And then they're like, oh, here's the newest gear to wear. And I'd rock up to the track, and these guys that are winning races, and I was maybe 5th to 10th place guy, maybe expert, top 3. How do you get all this new gear? And I was like, well, I was just finding out what they needed. I could give them some free exposure, but they were busy. So I just offered them something that they didn't have time to think about. And
they said yes.
They said yes. And then I got this gear that I couldn't afford to buy, but it helped me to go racing. And all of a sudden I just started, not leveraging, but helping. If I helped them, they'd help me, and then I could go do what I love to do. So it just kind of almost.
But it's the same as when you were walking around cutting people's frangipani trees down, and repotting the stuff, or getting a cutting off, whatever it is, and repotting
it. Kind of taught me.
It's the same deal.
It's the same principle.
It's hustle and leverage. Leverage. Working hard. Like I know people work hard their whole life and get nowhere. They actually work hard. I mean, they work. People work on my farms. They work their asses off, and when they reach a certain age, then they got a little bit of money in super, etc. But they haven't really they really didn't advance their lives that much in terms of things that they have, assets, etc. I mean, they're happy, they're content, all that sort of stuff. Don't get me wrong, but they didn't go any further because they didn't have the art of hustle and leverage. And I think, like in a business environment, which is what this whole show is about, it's about business. It's about working hard, got that, tick that off. But hustle and leverage is really important. And it goes right back to, it's the very essence of business, hustling and leverage. So you're saying to me, you got some guys who are probably top 10, you might not have been top 10. These guys are thinking about, they might have been older too, they might have been thinking about winning the race or
I was thinking just to get to the race and find out ways so I could keep doing it.
Correct. And you're thinking on top of all that, I'm going to hustle somebody. And the hustle is just making it easy for someone. Ringing up the brand and saying, listen, I'll wear your, whatever you guys wear. I'll wear that, and it's probably got the brand down the side or something like that.
Yeah, it was their motocross.
And I might say something about it these days, especially these days, you can put it up on social mediums. But like they're thinking, well, it's going to cost me one outfit or cost me blah, a set of tires or whatever. It's nothing for them, especially when they've got big budgets. And so I'm glad you talked about this. It's
funny how we went down that route. I didn't even think about it.
Well, but I'm getting it from you anyway. Like I'm just getting it from your body language, and I get it from the brief, and I get it from you. And like the fact that your mum actually taught you a bit the hustle and the leverage too. Because, by the way, you probably didn't even realise that she encouraged you to go and register a name. Loose Kid Industries.
Well, I told her about it, and then she told it, and then she went and did it. So, I definitely thank her a lot for that.
Well, sometimes there's things appear in front of you on the table, and we just look at them and nothing happens. We don't take it off the table.
Yeah.
And put it in our kick.
And it was interesting. I always knew I would do something with this brand. It just took me to I think I was 21, and there was no social media really back then. It was, 2013, I think, is when social media really boomed. So it was magazines, and it was, it was articles online. We were a wholesale business. So it was, you get on then it's kind of the journey started before, when I think from 2007 to 2010, I was still a carpenter, and I ended up working part-time in the end for the last year and a half so I could try and build the side business and finish my apprenticeship. But I just remember being 5 in the morning till, say 6, and then I'd leave home and go to work at 6:30. But that hour I'd get to work on the phone at lunch. I'd be on the phone. I'd be ringing a magazine to try and get an article, or I'd be ringing a retail store trying to sell, some teas into the store, or get home, you go to the gym, you train and work on the bike ready for the weekend. And then on a Saturday, you'd travel, you'd be racing 5 hours away, but you'd make time to stop at a store on the way, 2 hours in at Gympie. I'd try and sell to them before they closed at lunch, and then get up and then race on a Sunday and come home. And you definitely, we talk about it a bit at the office now to see how, how fast our brand is growing now, to go, well, that's the stuff that we really need to appreciate now, because we've learnt so much that's taught us to where we're at now. And you definitely appreciate it, but it's definitely a lot of hustle. I look back now and go, fuck, how am I going to put that many hours in? It just didn't matter.
Well, let's talk about it. I wouldn't mind digging into that a little bit. Like, I know I don't want to sort of hang around the weeds, but it's probably worthwhile. Where do you get the mindset that, is it because you love doing stuff around your brand, and if that was making T-shirts and hats, or is your mindset that you love just working really hard and fast, or have you got ADHD, or what is it?
I don't know.
There's no problem with that if you have.
No, I actually don't.
But what is it? What is it? I mean, where does that mindset come from? I mean, and is it a conscious thing?
My grandparents, my nonno came over from Italy on the boat and moved to Tassie, and he worked from nothing to create, phenomenal businesses. And maybe that came from that side of him, but I actually don't know. Like I think in 2007, I was like, I'm going to do something. I saw other brands out there, and a lot of the, we were racing on weekends. When we weren't racing, we were either partying or going to a music festival, or we were training in the gym. And it started out as everyone was like, hey, I want clothes to wear. And I was like, well, I should start doing this. I'm seeing other brands achieve it. Maybe I could do this. I can achieve that. And I thought, well, I wasn't a designer and I wasn't a creative, but I had a passion to build a community. As in, I said to someone last week, it's pretty funny, but my 21st birthday, Ministry of Sound DJ come back then. And it was, we had all different races from all over come to the party. And, there was like 150 people or something at my mum's property. But it was like, when I look at that, I go, well, what were we doing back then? Like that we had this community of people, of different athletes, and then they were wearing the brand and sharing it. And our mission now is to inspire people to chase the vibe through sport, fitness, and adventure. But you're talking 12 years ago, I didn't even know what a mission was. I didn't know what a community was. I had no idea. It was just natural nutrition. I don't actually know. It was
let's just try and see if we can work
how
out.
The grind started. I can't. I just have this passion. If I want to achieve it,
I'll
do it. Yeah, so they're locals. I mean, growing up racing, you were racing from far as Townsville. I'd race in New South Wales.
It's not Logan people.
Traveling all over. I got to meet people all over the world.
Your community was everywhere.
Yeah. So I got to meet people, but it wasn't social media. It was all offline. You'd go to a race meet back then, and there'd be 500 people racing. So we'd set up a little stand and we'd sell, and we'd have the stand. I'd be racing, and we'd try and sell some T-shirts in the early days. I mean, I'm trying to remember a lot of this because it was it was quite a while.
But where do you
ago.
get that? Where do I
get the drive?
Well, I'm just listening to you now. You haven't shut the fuck up. I mean, you keep going.
I'm bad. I talk a lot.
No, but it's okay. It's good. It's part of your DNA. So I'm trying to work out where it comes from. Because a lot of people out there don't know how to get the hustle on. Mm-hmm. Getting the hustle on. They understand the hustle. They'll understand the logic of leverage, which we just talked about. They understand the logic of working hard. They get that, but they just can't put all this shit together. And I'm just looking at you, and I'm thinking right now, where's he get his energy from? I know you're only 34, but to me, it's like you're in your head, and nothing else really matters. And it's you have in front of you your outcome, what you want to get out of this podcast today, and you're going to fucking get it no matter what, and you're going to be polite, more mannered, and all that sort of stuff. It goes with the game, but what you're trying to do is make sure that you get what you want. Which, by the way, to me, that's what I call drive. Mm-hmm. That's what drive is. And people go, "Oh, he's driven," but no one's ever fucking defined it. Like for me, drive is doing what you just did then. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you think about this consciously? Do you think that's something you had when you were 21, 20?
No, not when I was 21. I think,
but not consciously, just unconsciously.
Subconsciously, yeah, like unconsciously.
Like I'm going to get this.
Yeah, I think in 2007, I went, "This is going to be my job, no matter what. It fucks me how, I'm going to find a way." 2010, snapped my wrist, and was living off some insurance money. I said, "I'm pulling the pin. I've got my ticket. I'm going back to it." And we were doing okay back then, and we were able to move into an office. But I think it's honestly, if I set a goal, I'm going to do it. But what I think I've learned over the past couple of years is, I'm a big avid on audiobooks, and I'm probably
learning. You mean learning?
Learning, yeah. So I listen to a lot of different audiobooks. We now onboard our team with 3 audiobooks.
What are your audiobooks instead of reading it?
Quicker. And I'm probably not the best reader, to be honest. Yeah. I do get distracted quite quickly. But yeah, I think I've always been a goal setter. Like I've always set goals, and I think setting goals is really important to set goals. And so
you set your outcome or your target, and you go after it.
And you go for it. And if you don't achieve it, well, you learn from it, right? So I think for me, it's like I set a goal with LKI to be my job, and we got to a certain point where I was doing everything for everyone. We were making life jackets, gloves. We were selling to all
You're
different
making
styles.
what? Life jackets?
We made life jackets for
What's
water
life jacket?
sports. Like water sport life
Oh,
jackets.
you're skiing and stuff like that.
Yeah, like technical life jackets, so as in like, because it saves your life in that sense. We were making gloves. We were making a little bit of sportswear. We were making, street. But we started out making, essentially what we're doing now in the early days, but we didn't have enough manufacturing experience and understanding. We didn't start dealing with offshore until 2011. So it was a long time doing a lot of local production.
So do you think given is part of the mindset that drives you and pushes you and looks at the outcome and goes for it no matter what, sometimes it can also have a bit of a scattergun approach. In other words, you're doing a whole lot of shit and some of those things you shouldn't be doing.
Early days for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I think it definitely.
So you would say to someone listening to this show, look, if you want to have that mindset, the mindset that makes you driven and actual driven, and so there's the outcome I want, and I'm going to go for it no matter what, and you just go a million miles an hour. You can also, there is a risk in that of having the scattergun or the spray gun approach, and you can fuck up. You can do too many things.
Well, it depends
on
the scattergun approach, because we were building something, but I didn't understand how to align it to one thing. So if I bring it back to, say, LSKD now, we went, well, let's make functional sportswear with a street aesthetic. Let's get away from all those other categories and focus on that. Let's be the best in that. But in the early days when we were a wholesale business, the big major retailers would be, oh, hey, this is selling. Can you make that and we'll buy it? So we were like, yeah, cool. You buy 1,000 units, we'll make it. And so it kind of got to the point where we were like, what does our retailers want from us? And we'll make it for them. Where now it went to like, I wanted to learn how to build a brand that was, direct to the community, or, D2C, as they call it, and go, well, we can control our brand message and listen and be absolutely customer obsessed and listen to our community and what they want. So designing and developing product for them on how they chase the vibe.
as opposed to a retail channel.
As opposed to that. So that almost probably created a little bit of my scattergun approach, if we call it that, where I was just making everything. And I wanted to have a job. Like I just wanted it to be my career. Like I just loved it. And I didn't know what I loved about it at the time, till probably a little bit more now as I'm getting older and understanding why. But it was like, oh, you want to buy life jackets? Oh, I can make life jackets. I wear them when I wake surf and, go on a jet ski. So I'll make life jackets, because people that wear life jackets wear shorts. It was like, oh, hang on, that's a completely different category of business. And I think if it was anyone starting out, I think, for me, having mentors in that industry is really important. I did find mentors. I come from the building industry. So as you said before, you come up late to 6:30, head chopped off, right? It is a very much like that industry. And coming from a job site industry to working in an office environment was a really hard transition to me. Like I wasn't the best, leader in house. I made a lot of mistakes. I lost team. I was a dick in that sense. And I had to learn that transition.
Yeah, because as a builder or as a carpenter, it's a task business. So here's your task. Go do your task.
Yeah.
In the office, you got
it's very collaborative.
You got a whole thing in front of you, and you got to get a whole lot of people come in and do various parts.
Yeah.
So it's a big difference.
And you're totally right about the scatter, because I was everything to everyone.
I'll do everything.
Well, you team.
Just like when they said, we'd go and cut this tree, you say, no fucking worries, I'll go cut that tree. Or you're the same kid.
And you're distracting your team in-house.
What's the difference between a 30-year-old you and a 20-year-old you?
I think.
In running a business.
Yeah. A lot different. I suppose if I was building a plan, well, essentially we were LKI from 2007 to just trying to give some of my own experiences to how I built the plan. We were 2007 to 2018, we were LKI.
That's Loose Kid Industries.
So yeah, LKI.
Making just about everything.
Yep. And
all sorts of apparel.
We were making everything: accessories, pencil cases, backpacks, which we still make backpacks today, but a certain style of backpack. Anyway, so to September 2018, we decided to change the brand to LSKD. We actually had LSKD on product.
What is LSKD?
So it's the abbreviation for Loose Kid.
Okay. So S is part of loose.
Yeah, essentially. And we actually started putting it on product in 2016. I was a bit nervous of it, and the team design it mocked up really nicely on our tees and on our product. And I went, you know what? Like there's a pinnacle moment here in our brand that we can either go. We weren't doing the greatest. We were kind of going backwards in wholesale. E-com was starting to grow, but I didn't understand e-commerce enough. And I went, you know what? Like I'd listened to a bunch of audiobooks and went, I've got to stay in my lane. If I can build something here a mission. You know, like there's the books like Start With Why, there's, you know, Legacy, all these different books. And I started tying them together. And
so structured your thinking.
So I'm like, if I can build a culture, I can build a mission, and a mission of inspiring. We had this word, chase the vibe. But previously it was live your lifestyle. So it was very similar with LKI, but we went and I actually got the team together. I think we were a team of 10 or 12 then. And I got the team together and I said, hey guys, what do you like? LKI, LSKD.
So you had like a hackathon.
Yeah.
Internal hackathon.
Yeah. And I was like, what, you know, just old school whiteboard session. So what do you like? LKI, LSKD. And everyone said LSKD. And I said, chase the vibe, live your lifestyle. Everyone said, chase the vibe. And then I went out to our community and started asking, just showing them both logos. And they all said LSKD. I'm like, I'm going to listen to them first and foremost, and we're going to change the whole brand.
So the structure. So let's
rebuild the structure.
Let's just pull back a bit here. Come on, let's pull back. You're going too fast for our audience. So you hacked into the brand and what it stood for, and therefore off the back of that build a message. That's chase the vibe. LSKD is the brand.
Yep.
You hacked in through your own audience, your own mate, your own team and colleagues, and then you went into the wider audience, your community.
Yep.
That's the first thing you've got to do in structure. You've got to actually understand what your purpose is, what your messaging is off the back of that purpose, and you've got to consult everybody.
Yep.
Structure. That, and you made a very good point. Stay in your own lane. I know I can see what dying to say something. Just hang on.
I'm going to say anything.
Because I've got to just summarize what you said, right? Because it's you just drop some gold on the audience, but it's sort of fucking scattered all over the joint. So I just want to bring it back.
Thanks for cleaning it up for me.
So I just cleaned it up, right? Because I'll be the cleaner here, okay? And so that's the first thing you did. You built, you understood your purpose, and you did it in the way that I often recommend. That is, have a hackathon.
Yeah, I've never heard it that way.
Whiteboard, old school. You said old school, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually old school, modern school. That's the way it should be done.
We still do it to this day. So.
Consult. And you should continue to do that. That you've got to keep doing that, refining because markets change. That's one. The second thing you did then is actually, in terms of your structure, you structured your thinking. And the way you structured your thinking, your thought processes, Jason's thought process, instead of blah everywhere, you know, like just fucking do whatever, you started learning, because part of structure is learning, and you started to consult mentors. You started listening to audio books. You did it the way you do it. You know, you sped it up. You did it quick, it's cool. You did it by audio because it's better for you. You worked out very, very fast. It's better for me to listen than it is to read. But again, and then the final thing you said was really, really important. You said you stayed in your lane. It's really easy to cross over into other people's lane and just that's what I call scatter, you know, like, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I just mean like everyone does it, especially when you're young.
Yeah.
You do it.
But yeah, staying in your lane and opportunities start to come at you and you go, hang on, how much time is it going to take me? How much is that going to distract me at the job at hand that I need to achieve, or I'm going to help with the team? You know what? I can park that note and I'm going to get back to that maybe in 2 years' time, because I don't have time for that right now. I've got to focus on this.
So you prioritize.
Yeah. So I really just got very focused. And part of that is I started to understand financials too. So I started to understand financials. I had a CFO, Matt Geldard, joined when we changed the brand. He joined about a month before that, a day a week. And, you know, we were early, you know, I was lucky enough to get a government grant that helped pay a day a week in those times, because I'll be completely transparent. I didn't know what a CFO even did. And I've been in business a while, and I didn't know what essentially a management accountant did and how they can actually help you to plan and forecast. So he started to teach me things and just sit there and teach me all this. And I went, oh, if I focus on that, I can actually achieve a better outcome. And why am I doing that there? And why am I doing that? And actually help me get laser focused.
Yeah, what's profitable and what's not.
And know my numbers.
Yeah.
And I knew my numbers from a margin perspective and understood that with my product margin and, you know, bringing it in from overseas and manufacturing. But there was that other side that really helped me to plan, to go, like, here's my milestones I could hit. So,
I mean, you just talked about my playbook, by the way. You just went through the first 5 chapters of my playbook. So, cool. And my playbook is about exactly, 1, establish your purpose, 2, play defensive. In other words, make sure your systems and processes are right. 3, marketing, you know, make sure that the messaging and the marketing, that's all your socials right. 4, your financials, understand your financials. I mean, you've got to have financials.
Oh, awesome.
You got to, and it's all about structuring your thought process, yours, but structuring your business, having your business in parts so you know what to prioritize, what not to prioritize, what does work, what doesn't work. What I'd like to get to one day, but right now I'm not going to fucking worry about it because I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As opposed to thinking, oh, fuck, I can do everything.
Yeah.
Because
You just burn out and then you
totally
not doing the best.
But I can do everything type person, by the way, is you. You're that person. You're that type person. And they have enormous amount of energy. And energy is critical to a business, like fully critical. Like it's got to have that energy person in the business all the time, and you got to transfer your energy across to everybody else. And those sorts of people tend to think like you. I can do everything.
And
So
build
that
a
seems
great
like
culture.
the difference between you at 20 and you at 30 for me, and I'm, if you don't mind me saying so, it's structure.
Yeah.
You're the same guy, same dude, same skill sets, but you have much more awareness of structure and know how to put structure in place. We're going to go to the break, then we're going to come back and talk about the business.
Okay, cool.
LSKD, what the fuck you do.
All right, yeah.
I bet the last thing you're thinking right now is your business's digital security. But this kind of mentality leaves you vulnerable to web threats that could compromise your entire business. Scary stuff, right? No, doesn't have to be. If you protect your business website with GoDaddy, it is comprehensive yet simple to navigate. Your customers can be assured they can securely exchange data and safely browse your website. You don't have to worry about losing ownership over your data. GoDaddy.com.au have a comprehensive and simplified security solution. You keep hackers at bay and prevent malware with firewall protection. You'll be on the front foot and detect potential problems and resolve them quickly with security scan and remediation. You can rest easy with secure backup and click restore, which ensures business continuity. Pretty important, right? From standard, advanced, or premium level security, you have the power to protect your business online with GoDaddy. Show your customers they're safe on your site. So what are you waiting for? Get started securing your website online with GoDaddy. Well, I'm back from the break and we're talking to Jason. One of the things we established that LSKD, the current business, well, the business.
future.
Yep, and we'll talk about the products in a moment and the business itself. But it's a long way advanced, but it's also very much similar to the business LKI Industries, which is even just LK, loose kid. It's the same dude, the same business, the same energy.
Just evolved into a great structure. Structure is the most important thing. Structure is critical. It's fucking boring, but it is critical to survival and thriving. So surviving and thriving is about structure for me. I don't give a shit how much energy you got, how good the idea is, how many good people you got around you. But you got to sort of build it and make it work. So let's just talk about LSKD. So what is the product and what's your go-to market? So do we create functional sportswear with a streetwear aesthetic?
What does that mean?
So
for
functional
everyone else
sports
who doesn't understand.
So functional sportswear is essentially a term of it is sportswear. But the way I like to say with the street aesthetic is, today I'm wearing our rep shorts that I'd wear to the office most days, and
what are you calling your
our rep shorts? So these are our rep shorts. I got you a pair, so you can throw down some boxing in it.
So a pair of black shorts.
Pair of black shorts.
I'm going to go and get them.
So I ran a half marathon. I train in these every day. I don't wear the same pair to work, obviously, but I train in them. And part of that is we wanted to develop product.
So these are your shorts. They're called rep shorts.
So
you call them rep shorts, but it's a pair of runners or gym shorts.
Yeah, with inner mesh lining for breathability, side zip pockets so you can throw your phone in there.
Yeah.
I've actually personally run or trained with my phone in there.
And in terms of
made from recycled, the outer shell's made from recycled materials as well, which is a part of our Project Earth. So we just that's our men's. We are predominantly, we're actually 70% female. Our brand, which is amazing. But then part of that,
you mean female customers or
our customers are
or the SKUs?
It's probably 65% SKU based, but we do sell a lot of unisex products. So a lot of our menswear product sells to our female community. So we sell, if you check out our online store, we sell a lot of unisex product, which is our men's hoodies for our female community too. Because they like to wear their boyfriend's hoodie.
So gym gear, let's call it sports.
So it's called gym gear. So so part of our brand ethos is, our obviously with our technical product is our tights. So
where's that? Hang on, we've got the tights here.
Where are they?
Now I got to ask you this. I need to ask you about tights. So,
okay, cool.
So I box a lot, and we tend to want to wear a lot of.
We're actually making that a men's tight too, which is cool.
We need to have men's. It sounds a bit weird, but like fighters often like to wear tights.
We're testing some at the moment. you know, we wanted this really super soft fabric that when our
It feels good.
yeah, and that's been the most amazing thing. And we wanted to make sure the paneling was really flattering, had pockets. So when you put it on, you can train in the gym at a high intensity workout, but you can go to coffee, right? We wanted to really make sure that it was an amazing fit, but that's one fit we've developed. And then now we're working on other fits where there's one that you would do potentially. You could do yoga in that tight. You can do almost everything. And the whole thing is you can chase the vibe within sport, fitness,
What the
and
fuck
adventure.
does that mean to me? Come on, dude. Tell me what.
What do you want it to mean?
I don't know. Tell me. I don't know what it means. You tell me what does it mean? Like,
Well,
I'm 60 odd, blood. You're 30.
You're still young.
So tell me what chase the vibe means, because that's
Well, we align it back to sport, fitness, and adventure.
Yeah.
So that's what
whatever your vibe is.
And our mission to inspire people to that is, I know when I'm out, whether it's running or training in the gym, or, you know, I'm essentially out chasing the vibe and, you know, what I'm doing. And I think part of that mission is, we know that if our community's buying the product, we want them to be inspired to go out and do those things. You know, if you do check out our Instagram account or our socials or our website, we want them to go on and be inspired to go, fuck, I want to get out and do that too. Like, whether it's in sport, fitness, and adventure.
I feel inspired or motivated, whatever the words are, to go out and do something.
Yeah,
If I'm wearing
that's our goal and mission.
Yeah.
Because I know internally, you know, our team has grown a lot, and for me, a part of the goal is I want to see them out, you know, chasing the vibe, doing those things. You know, if someone's like, hey, I got to leave early because I'm going to go on a run. I mean, we have a run club at the office, and because winter, it's getting darker. So we're going early. We normally close the office at 5. We're like, well, we're doing run club at 5. If everyone wants to leave early, just leave early. Like, we're not going to track your minutes. We're going to go to run club. And we, you know, at the start, we had 18 of us going, you know, out of, you know, there's about 50 with the casual team as well in the warehouse. And it was like, we wanted to create that thing where the community gets together, we're exercising, but you can do, I don't know, you can do anything, like whether there's functional training, anything that where you get together where there's a bit of a community vibe.
With your gear.
With our gear.
But how do you consult the community?
How do we consult?
What do you
That's
find?
a great question.
Yeah,
So
how do you find out?
I mean, the early days was focus groups. We still do focus groups. We have our customer support team are talking to our community every day.
Do you ever get on the blower yourself?
Yeah,
These
I
days?
still do. Yeah. And if there's a return or if there's something wrong, I'm like, I want to know about it. Like, if, you know, I want to know. I mean, I've had people message me direct about things or ideas, and I'm all in. I think it also comes I mean, we've got a Facebook community group that's close to 30,000 now. We started a couple of months ago, and that's actually been a really phenomenal way for us to learn, because it is really hard when you're an e-commerce brand. You're not out there in the community, and COVID has changed that a lot, right? You can't be out there. So
you consult your community to find out what product. We do all different things where we'll send emails for feedback. We'll post things for feedback. Our community is actually just giving us feedback now, and then we go down to the level of, I mean, if I go back to when we developed our first pair of tights, our rep tights, you know, we had all different people from different gyms. The gym even myself, the gym I trained at, I was going in there and giving pairs to all different sizes to train. Our team were giving it to their brothers, their sister or their cousins in all different sizes just to get feedback. We were giving them out and going, go give us feedback, because it's not just about fitness. It's about how would they wear it every day? How would they do it? And get feedback. I don't like how this felt on the leg, or I don't like how this gusset felt. Okay, why? Okay, let's go back to the drawing board and let's work on this and let's fix it. You know, down to the point as we were about to release a product, and we had a couple of pairs of this women's short tight, and I actually gave a pair to my cousin, and we gave a pair to a really good friend of ours that owns a gym, and they came back and said, look, I feel like it's the gusset's not right. And we literally pulled production and said, no, we're not doing it. Like, we've got to fix this. Thank you. You know, like just little things. I mean, it's every day we're trying to learn and get better. The 1% is the things that win at the end of the
day.
day.
And it's not the creating this huge event around it. It's just having a genuine conversation, picking up the phone, asking a question. What did you think of that? Inviting them to have open feedback where they feel they can genuinely give open feedback. Because some people are like, oh, I love it. You're like, oh, this is so bad.
You actually you want to get a few people to say, no, what about we change this? At least it gets you to think about what it is.
You may not, but you're at least thinking, and you go, oh, I never thought of that.
What about pricing? I mean, how do you price your product? I mean, tell our audience how you do that.
Well, it's an interesting one.
You have a premium price? What are you?
Well, we're probably, I mean, our puffer jacket that we've just created is $210.
I don't know where that sits in the market. Is that good, bad?
I mean, I don't know either, to be honest. We just priced it at that because that's where we felt it sat, and it was priced well for our community. I mean, our tights are $80. We wanted to price a tight that wasn't too expensive It wasn't the cheapest because of the quality and fabric we had to put in there, but we wanted to make sure it was at a great price that, I suppose is affordable to purchase, and they know they're going to keep them for a long time. I suppose obviously there's the margin factor as well you've got to factor in. So you have to factor that in. But we're not trying to, go out and sell things at $150 a pair of tights. We tried to keep them at a really good price point for the community. But if I'm going to be fully transparent, in the early days, we didn't know where we were going to price ourselves. We're not the most expensive and we're not the cheapest. We sit around the middle and where we do, but we also sit at where we think it's priced well for our community.
But do you build your brand? Therefore, do you go and build your brand around the middle too? Sort of. Now, some people might pitch their brand as, the best, therefore the most expensive. Makes sense? Some people might say, no, we're not the best, but we're the cheapest. In other words, it's affordable shit, really super affordable, Target or whatever. And then there's someone in the middle. So, but in the middle, you got to be, neither the best nor you're the cheapest.
So we want to create like the best product for our community. We're not claiming we're the best, but we want to create the best product that they can wear, and they can wear over and over and over and not have any faults. And they're paying a solid price for it, but they're getting a great product that they wear, and they'll tell their friends.
But what's the proposition? Is it because
we don't really? We more sell the why, the mission.
Yeah, okay. So it's none of those things. So so therefore the mission being
we don't plaster up. This is only $79.99. We don't plaster that up.
Right. So it's not price driven. So
we focus on the content and the why and the mission, and try and really focus around that.
So you're saying I won't look at the price because I'm going to be.
It's a good question.
I'm going to fall in love with the mission or the content or the chase the vibe, whatever.
Well, you're probably right. I think it's three things. Mission is to inspire people to chase the vibe through sport, fitness, and adventure, and that's essentially our why as well. We're not trying to say we're the best.
Yeah,
we're not going to say we're the cheapest.
But when you said earlier on content and the why. You said adventure and
sport, fitness, and adventure.
Yeah, but sport. I don't think sport's a purpose. I think we do sport for a purpose, and I quite like the word adventure. I think sport's about adventure. So
they all overlap slightly on each other.
Yeah, but like adventure is an important thing. Adventure and health. Like well-being.
Yeah,
they're really important concepts. Sport's not a concept. Sport's a thing. And I'm talking about when I talk about purpose, I talk about, which is your why, I talk about concepts as opposed to things. I want a house, not because I want to be rich, because I want to be comfortable. I want to be safe. I want to be secure. I've always they're concepts as opposed to things. Thing is the house. Sport to me is a thing. It's an action. It's something you're doing, but there is a concept around it. Why do I do sport? There you go. Because I want to look good.
Makes you feel better.
I'm competitive.
Well, I think it depends on
adventure. I might be someone who wants to climb mountains and shit like that. I'm testing myself. That's adventure.
Yeah, a sport could be. Sport breaks down to like action sports and sports. Whether you're into mountain biking, whether you're into which you've got a thing, and then you go essentially do that thing and you buy a mountain bike and you go riding. I love mountain bike quite a lot myself, but it's a thing that you're doing. Whether the sport
just satisfy something within yourself, though.
Yeah, and I think it's great. It's great for your health. Sport is exercise.
Well, I do sport for that reason. I don't do it for adventure. I do it for health and compete. I like to compete, but I do it for my own personal health.
Yeah, and I think that's
that's my own because I want to live a better quality life.
Yeah,
and I know if I'm healthy, I live a better quality life. Well, I think will live a better quality.
I totally agree. It's part of my goal is to be training when I'm the next stage and the next stage.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
all about long term.
So, but I don't do it for adventure though. But I would have when I was younger, but I don't these days. I do, and I also do it to satisfy my need to compete. And I also do it in my case for my need to stay relevant.
Yep.
I compete to be relevant, stay relevant. Maybe I have some insecurity or something. I don't know, but who gives a fuck? But
I compete now because I used to race and had that. It gives you that. It gives you that sense of
I'm still in it.
It's that adrenaline rush you get to, that feeling you get. So racing motocross, and I hadn't raced for 10 years. I've now, this year I've done 2 triathlons. I'm doing a marathon. I don't care where I come. I actually care about if I put everything into it and I do the best I can, I know I've done well.
So given that, when you build your marketing, social media marketing and all the marketing you do, and I don't know if you do any above the line, but let's assume it's just all digital. Are you promoting does your brand rather promote into all those sorts of categories? In other words, adventure, relevancy, need to compete, health.
Yeah, so that's where it breaks down to the next stage of like we have content creators, which tears into adventure. We have athletes, which goes into sport and fitness. And then we have other things where we work with like local gyms. And so there's that side to it too. So a lot of it, we do have professional athletes. We've got a professional BMX rider, Logan Martin, that is going to the Olympics this year. He wears the brand. He doesn't wear it when he competes. He wears it when he's training in the gym, practicing, and, obviously whenever he's not on, and because you compete for a whole of probably 3 minutes on the course. So he doesn't wear it for that. He wears it when he's doing everything else. And, he's got between his socials, maybe 700,000 followers. We have another athlete that's into fitness. So it all kind of ties into each other of like how we find, we've got different female athletes.
So that's interesting. So your use of influencers, it's sort of that's an interesting one. And I read somewhere that you had someone from some Hollywood star wearing your gear.
Oh, Zac Efron, yeah.
Zac Efron, okay. And I
can't wait to train with him.
I presume it's because he's in Byron or Ballina or somewhere doing a movie or something like that.
Yeah, I actually
more recently. We're talking about more recently.
Yeah, it was only recent. He wore the brand. Even Hailey Bieber wore a face mask recently. It was pretty cool. But it kind of happened very organically. I met someone in the US, became quite good friends with him. He's a big content creator, videographer, and he met his brother. Actually, was coming to Australia to film the latest Netflix series, Dylan, and he just connected me in a message and said, "Hey, Dylan's coming over, he might be able to, you guys are always out, essentially chasing the vibe. Might be worth the connection that when they're here filming, you might be able to take them out on the boat, take them wake surfing, or you could mountain biking, hiking, etc." And then we connected, and then I ended up getting to chat to Zach's brother for about 45 minutes. I think I spent nearly the whole time talking about Ironmans and marathons because he used to be an Ironman, and I've heard all about, obviously I have a goal to do an Ironman one day, and I forgot to really talk about the brand. I was talking more about that, and then the last 5 minutes was a chat about the brand. And then he messaged me and just said, "Hey, my brother loves the brand. He loves the product. He's allowed to wear it on the show." And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So we weren't really trying to push it, to be honest. He just showed his brother and said, "If you'd like some, I can get it for you."
Is that the same Jason who used to go around when he was I can't remember what you said, maybe 15 or 16 or something, and working for your mum, and you went around knocking on doors and you said, "Can I cut your tree down and and can I do the hustle?" You're hustling and then leveraging. That's the same dude,
same guy.
Yeah,
just slowly.
But it's the same shit, isn't it?
With exactly,
and probably not necessarily. I'm setting out on consciously to network, because mate, that's a fucking fail. That shit.
Build relationships, in my opinion. I'm a big believer.
But you see there's some leverage in there, because I might end up getting those cuttings and I can grow them and sell them. So that's the same dude.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm a big believer. If you want something, you got to give something in return.
Yeah,
and it's like, sure. I'd love to get Zach. Yeah. But if not, hey, I'd love to throw down a gym session. The guy seems like a beast in the gym. Love to go training with him.
So did it help your business? I mean, like...
it did definitely from an awareness perspective. The awareness was phenomenal. It's gone, obviously, all over the media. They've tagged our logo, obviously the brand Ellis Ketty that he's wearing.
Did he put up on his stuff?
He put it on his Instagram. He's got like 44 million followers. He put it on there. He didn't tag us or anything. No. But he was wearing it. But he's wearing it in the Netflix series that launches in the US. I don't know when. So that series launch, I have no idea, but he's wearing it until the series. So I'm really interested to see once the series comes out, where that actually takes us from a traffic perspective and potentially sales. But we didn't really do that for sales. I think it's more of a really good brand awareness strategy. If you're going to talk it as a strategy, it's really great to get that awareness.
It's pretty good fucking brand awareness.
And it's like a fanboy moment. I was pumped when he's wearing, everyone loves Zac Efron.
Does he live in Byron or something?
I think Byron and
around that territory.
I think so. I've never got a chance to speak to him, but
Hemsworth, all that sort of.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Like we had the opportunity we gifted, sent Hemsworth's trainer a product. And he was wearing it, in Hemsworth videos. So yeah, you just don't know. Sometimes you've got, you might get an address and you just hope for the best they're going to wear it, and that's your kind of like fanboy moment where you're like pumped that they're wearing the brand, but you don't know if they're going to wear it. You'll send a gift and hope. But the Zac Efron situation was phenomenal, but it was cool.
I hope you get to go and have a gym session. Maybe we'll take him on a marathon or a half marathon or something.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We'll take him mountain biking. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, I've expressed the invite, so hoping to get the call up.
So that use of influencers, how important is that for your brand build?
Yeah, it's massive. And I think we treat the kind of the word influencers as more, whether it's ambassadors or, local trainers or just people in the community.
It's a shit word, influencers. Yeah,
it's hard. I mean, everyone is influential in their own right.
Yeah.
If someone wears something and they go, "Do you like that? I love it." You've just influenced that person to go, well, I'm going to see it, I'm going to buy it. Or potentially if I'm in a store or if I'm online. So I think for us, we class it as ambassadors, and we have, we've got different athletes. We do work with different influencers all over the world, but there's between sport, fitness and adventure, we have, amazing content creators, and all they do is travel the world and create phenomenal content on adventure. And we've got athletes that train, whether it's a professional BMXer or someone involved in fitness. We have that side to it because you can wear our product essentially doing anything, but we just try and tie it back to that. But also, your values mean a lot as well.
How do you sit around? Who do you sit around with, and what process do you employ? Give me.
Okay, I suppose LKI days. I had no idea what values were. No idea. It's been a very long journey to find them. Listened to lots of different audio books, and then started to understand. Okay, that's what a value means. It's not a buzzword. It's just what you do every day and decisions you make by every day. So we started to kind of create this spread of words, and then we actually sent out a form to the whole team in the office and just said, "Hey guys, we really want to work on our values."
So again, you hacked into it.
Yeah, and just asked them for their feedback. Yeah. And then pulled that up, and then wrote a first draft, and then posted it on the wall, and just left it there. And everyone and then we got more feedback.
Can we throw a few words around?
Like sweep the sheds. No one's bigger than the team. So values like that.
Yeah. Can you get another one?
Move fast and break shit.
Move fast and break shit.
Yeah. Power forwards.
Yeah.
So different things like that. I'm if I read it in front of me, but a lot of those kind of, not so much buzzwords, but it's decisions that we can make together every day. And and then the decisions, cause the team is growing quite quickly, and I'm trying to learn how to understand how do you keep growing, and you can't oversee every aspect, every single day.
Again, that's why you got to have structure.
Exactly.
And you got to live your life. The business has to live its life by structure. Once a month, you got to meet and you got to say, they're the 10 things we're going to talk about every month. Going right back to the beginning. Our purpose, what we hear, our process and systems, how we send out our messages, what our marketing, what our financials look like. A good one. Has a business still got energy? The vibe.
Yeah.
That's the vibe.
Yeah. 100%.
And where's it coming from? It can't just come from you because you're going to get worn out. It's got to come from everybody.
Yeah, no,
up and down, sideways. It's got to come from everywhere.
And you've got to empower your team to know that leaders create leaders essentially.
And what are your plans for the future?
Yeah. Obviously our product line is growing, which is really exciting. So we're bringing out around 8 new styles of women's tights over the course of the next 8 months that we've been working on pretty much for 12 months prior. So that's coming out. So our product line's expanding in the area that we're focused on. And then at the same time, obviously signing a lot more new ambassadors to the team. Obviously international expansion is growing, which is really exciting. But at the same time, trying to learn from that community.
So I would call that business as usual though, but sort of turbocharging BAU, I'd be saying.
We're growing really quick.
Do you have one special thing though, outside of business as usual? In other words, increasing your product lines, growing different territories. But do you have a one?
We launched an app.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Right, so
cool.
I'll probably
that's your one.
Talk a lot of things, but we launched an app recently, literally 3 weeks ago.
And what's the app do?
So it's an online shopping app.
Yep. Okay.
So we ended up number 1 on the App Store on launch, which is amazing in the shopping app.
Okay, you're going to stay where you are.
Saying that it's only just getting started for us. We've had one pair of tights, the same one style.
The ones I just held up.
Yep. For 2 years, and it's really built momentum. Now we're starting to bring out other fits.
Like short tights.
Shorts, but it's the long tights. So there's different fits in tights. Ones that have just no paneling, there's seamless, there's all different fits. So we're now starting to dive. We've got this amazing, community of people buying tights. Sold a lot of pairs of tights, and now we're expanding that, which obviously in tights expands. Different people like to wear different fits. Obviously, we're building loyalty programs that we launched this month on our online store. So it seems business as usual, but it's like
there's nothing wrong with business as usual.
The work on getting that right to keep growing. The team, obviously we're moving into a new office. So we're building a 3,500 square meter facility on the highway in Logan. That's going to actually have a retail store on the front of it, which you can click and collect, which will be about a small 80 square meter store, but it'll be kind of a state of the art pop-up shop that we'll use that as a potential pop-up shop model to do pop-up shops around Australia, New Zealand, so internationally, to learn from the community and open stores, whether it's a pop-up model. there's a gym going in there on the rooftop, and we can shoot content. The team can train. We can have athletes come and train.
That's culture, though. That's people and culture. So
yeah,
because that's another chapter of my thing actually. People and culture. And that's an important one. I think you've got that shit. I reckon my gut feeling is you got that stuff going really well. I'm actually happy that you're saying it is business as usual and that you don't have some major project on the side. I was sort of setting you up a little bit there.
Oh, thanks.
I'm actually
trying
happy.
to think of something that
I'm actually happy you are doing what you do best and that you are concentrating and you are drilling down into those things you do well, which is probably not the same dude as we,
Yeah, we're going to talk it up
when you're
and
20.
say
But I mean, that really means you're sticking to your lane.
Yeah.
And you're just going
listening to our customers,
and you're going to do that better.
What they
just do it better and better and better and better.
And what they want us to do better as well.
Yeah.
And staying focused.
Consulting, sticking to your lane. Okay, we're at the end of the podcast. I'm going to give you a chance to ask me a question.
I was thinking about this. I think, what would you tell, whether it's your 21-year-old self now, what would you tell, you may have been asked this, I don't know, but what would you tell your younger self now, what you know now? If that makes sense.
Don't be in a hurry. That's the first thing. Don't make decisions because you're in a hurry, and don't make in other words, think about what you're going to do. Stop trying to grow at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Grow more steadily. Probably, I keep saying it to you, is maintain a structure and stay with the structure until you get it's perfect or not perfect, near as perfect as possible. In other words, all your processes are working, your systems are working. We were just talking about your electronic systems in terms of inventory and storage and warehousing and deliveries and blah, 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 orders. Make sure your system processes are right. Make sure you continue to refine your message and the reason why you're doing stuff, more importantly, what your community wants as opposed to what you think they fucking want. Make sure and stick to your financials. Try and manage your numbers all the time. Keep the energy right in your joint. Like, make sure that everybody is still feeling energized, because sometimes when you do business as usual, that people can get bored. Some people live off newness. That's where they get their energy from. I'm one of those people, right? I get energy off new ideas, new thoughts. And sometimes when I get bored, I start looking at new thoughts. And in fact, I should just continue doing what I've always done, because what I've done is actually right and is good and it works. So the structure, what I have to apply to myself, my businesses, is the structure I've been talking about. And we've been talking about this the whole hour. We've been talking about the structure that I apply to my businesses. That structure is living in a very regimented way in relation to your business. And don't be trying to go doing things in a hurry, Mark, because you'll usually make a big mistake, which is the biggest mistakes I ever made was when I was younger, is when I was trying to jump from 1 to 10 without doing steps 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You've got to do the steps. I don't give a shit who you are, how smart you are, whatever, how good your product is, you've got to do the steps. So I would say to Mark, a young Mark, don't be in a hurry. Make sure you build structure into whatever it is that you're doing. And it seems to me that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Well done, mate.
Awesome.
That was
Thanks
great.
for your time. I really appreciate it.
LSKD. S is around the right way. K is around the wrong way.
Yeah.
Don't fuck it up.
Thanks,
I love it. See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Mentor. Audio and production is by Jess Smalley. And production assistants, Jonathan Leondis.
Thanks for sticking around after the podcast. And guess what? I've got a Facebook group for The Mentor. I reckon you should join it. This is a great place for you to share your experiences with like-minded people in small business. Let's build a community. And if you've got any questions, insights, talk about it. Whatever. Just type in The Mentor with Mark Boris and request to join. And while I've got you, please let us know what you think of The Mentor, the podcast, in an iTunes podcast review. So, talk to you soon. See ya. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Mentor. We hear a lot about big businesses affected by cyber security threats, but many of us don't think it'll happen to your small business. Well, we think we're just going to fly under the radar, but this leaves you vulnerable to hackers, bugs, and other nasty stuff. Protecting your site with GoDaddy is the best way to prevent any of that from destroying your business. It's the difference between a major data breach and forking out thousands or sleeping well at night. GoDaddy.com.au's security-grade technology makes data loss a thing of the past with daily automatic backups on your website. And if disaster strikes, One-Click Restore lets you reinstate a clean version of your website with just a single click. Do right by your business and your customers by protecting it with GoDaddy.